This is Mac OS Ken.
Examining iPhone in uncertain times. The App Store is so bad it's good or something. And Apple TV Plus leans hard into sports. It is Friday, the 8th of April, 2022. I'm Ken Ray, and this is news from Mac OS Ken, brought to you by yours truly and sponsored by Trade Coffee. Get $30 off your first order plus free shipping at drinktrade.com/macOSKen. This show is also sponsored by Kanji, device management for your Apple environment. Growing a business is great, though you might encounter growing pains. If you've got more Macs and iPhones going to more people than you know how to manage, take care of it with Kanji. With Kanji, Apple hardware can be ready for your team quickly and easily, with all the apps and settings that they need. Devices managed by Kanji keep themselves secure. Apps are patched, operating systems are updated, and security controls are enforced without active management from admins. It's not doing that by itself, though. You decide how soon after release updates get updated. Kanji lets you do that without having to deal with individual users or their machines. And if any of those individuals change anything they shouldn't, Kanji detects it and fixes it, saving you time and trouble. Go to kanji.io/macOSKen for a free demo and trial. KANDJI, that's kanji.io/macOSKen. Find out why companies like Lacework, Segment, Allbirds, and others use Kanji for zero-touch Apple device management. KANDJI, again, that is kanji.io/macOSKen. Your free demo and trial are waiting at kanji.io/macOSKen. And a huge thanks to Kanji for sponsoring today's show. Smartphone sales look ready to tank in China, iPhone not included. That seems to be the thinking of a number of analysts in a piece from CNBC. A resurgence of COVID-19 and associated lockdowns to slow that are kind of bumming out Chinese consumers. Or said more formally, IDC research manager Will Wong tells CNBC the impact is expected to be mainly coming from the soft consumer demand and sentiment caused by the COVID outbreak and slower economic momentum. The supply disruptions will be a less disturbing factor as the factory bubbles and government's experience in curbing the outbreak could help to mitigate the impact. So the problem won't be supply but demand. Again, iPhone not included. Probably. Wong says it's weaker demand in the Android market that will drive smartphone sales down in China. The piece has strategy analytics executive director Neil Mostyn agreeing on the Android front. He tells CNBC the Android segment in China remains a brutal marketplace, with half a dozen brands like Xiaomi fighting fiercely on price for a piece of a shrinking Android pie. While most of the analysts with whom CNBC spoke see iPhone getting hit not as hard, it will get hit unless it doesn't. For the Chinese smartphone market as a whole, Counterpoint research analyst Neil Shaw says the drop could be anywhere from 3% to 12%, depending on how COVID goes. Focusing in on iPhone, Counterpoint Shaw said that Apple could see a decline of around 4% to 5% in shipments in the second quarter, though he attributes that to the usual seasonal decline that comes after Apple introduces new product. That said, CNBC has strategy analytics Mostyn indicating that he expects Apple to actually grow its overall market share in China in 2022 as its loyal, affluent fans upgrade to new or more affordable 5G models. And what's interesting is, while a bunch of people following the decline in sales of electronics think iPhone is likely to do well, one guy who follows Apple is cutting iPhone expectations based on that decline. Apple Insider has JP Morgan analyst Samik Chatterjee drawing down his iPhone expectations as his firm takes a more cautious view on consumer spending. Quoting his note, "We are trimming our earnings forecast for Apple, led by a modest haircut for our revenue growth estimates for iPhone, primarily iPhone SE, and for services, although the overall reduction in estimates is fairly modest given the resilience of high-end smartphones, tablets, and laptops to the broader slowdown in consumer spending." That would be the global version of Apple's loyal, affluent fans mentioned by Mr. Mostyn. Despite the headwinds in iPhone and perhaps services, Apple Insider says Chatterjee still believes that Apple should drive offsets through market share increases. He says Apple is well positioned to deliver resilient performance and product revenue growth because of market share gains. Chatterjee has a positive rating on Apple shares. His price target on the shares is $210. Apple apps do not do as well as a lot of competing apps in the App Store. That is the word from a bunch of analysts hired by Apple. CNET writes up a report published by Apple, put together by Analysis Group. The report shows established third parties like Spotify, Netflix, and Google Maps beating Apple's answers to those services in terms of use. In the U.S., according to the firm's findings, usage of Apple Maps stands at 36%, usage of Apple Music stands at 21%, and usage of Apple TV stands at 3%. CNET has Analysis Group saying for many countries and app types, the Apple app accounts for 20% to 30% of total app usage, adding that Apple's apps are eclipsed in popularity by third-party apps in nearly every country. This reflects that while Apple apps are widely used, the firm says, third-party apps are used more frequently. If you're wondering why Apple would brag about such numbers, it's not bragging, it's self-defense against pressure from lawmakers, regulators, and competitors around the world about how it manages and controls its iPhones and iPads. The case made by Apple and Analysis Group, the App Store has grown substantially throughout the years, sustaining an expanding community of developers and content creators and fueling a massive and growing ecosystem. This growth reflects the dynamism of the App Store, its community, and its ecosystem, which benefits developers, users, and Apple. The Navalny app is back in Russia's App Store. Formerly called Smart Voting, the app was pulled from both Apple's App Store and the Google Play Store ahead of elections in Russia last September. A piece from Cult of Mac says that removal came after Russia threatened to prosecute top Apple employees in the country if the app stayed up. Now the cult says the app is back. To that site's credit, they do not talk about a defiant Apple standing up to Russia, as a number of sites I saw indicated. While that would be an easy assumption, it would be a hard case to make. A piece from CNET last September said the app was designed to consolidate the opposition vote in each of Russia's 225 electoral districts, according to a piece from the New York Times. It reportedly let people enter their address and would then offer up candidates to vote for. The idea behind the protest vote was to get politicians not approved by the Kremlin into parliament, whether or not people agreed with an individual candidate's views. The app was pulled from Apple Store and Google Store before that election. After the election, Google put the app back in its App Store, so please, let's not clap Apple on the back for its bravery in this case. I'm not saying there's anything Apple could have done differently last September. I'm saying maybe we shouldn't put them on a pedestal for doing something 7 months after the election the app was made for, and at least a few months after Google did the same thing. Anyway, the app is back now, and Seriously, 3 cheers for that. Updates this week for Apple's productivity suite. Mac Rumors says the Cupertino company has updated Pages, Numbers, and Keynote for iOS, iPad, and the Mac. The biggest change across the board seems to be on the Mac side, where shortcuts can now be used to create, open, and manipulate presentations, spreadsheets, and documents. Pages and Numbers also get deeper voiceover integration for the Mac, iOS, and iPad. Other updated features await. All 3 apps are free for the various platforms. The updates are available now in their respective app stores. Apple has updated its Apple Support app. 9 to 5 Mac says version 4.6 of the application brings support for Apple Business Essentials customers who have opted for AppleCare Plus. The app also brings unspecified performance enhances and bug fixes. Apple Support is a free application. The updated version of Apple's Apple Support app is available now in Apple's App Store. More news in a moment, but first a word from Trade Coffee. 2 of the best cups of coffee I've ever had, I will never have again. The first was at an event in Las Vegas in 1998, and the second was from a company that went out of business close to 20 years ago. I tell you all that to let you know how seriously I take my coffee. So take my word when I say how much I am loving Trade Coffee. Here's how it works. You answer coffee questions when you get started. Light or dark? What do you use to make your coffee? Do you grind it yourself or do you buy it ground? Questions like that. Then they start sending you coffee from craft roasters across the country. Small businesses that pay farmers fair prices to sustainably source great coffee beans from around the world. Bark at the Moon, Terra, Holmes. The coffees they have sent me have been memorable, enjoyable, the kind of coffee you hope you'll get when trying something new. That said, if you don't like your first bag, they will put you together with one of their coffee experts to get a bag you will love at no additional charge. Let me know how it goes. Right now, Trade is offering new subscribers a total of $30 off your first order plus free shipping when you go to drinktrade.com/macOSken. That is more than 40 cups of coffee for free. Get started by taking their quiz at drinktrade.com/macOSken and let Trade find you a coffee you'll love. That's drinktrade.com/macOSken for $30 off. News of a couple of new shows for Apple TV Plus. Earlier this week, the Cupertino streamer issued a press release announcing the new psychological thriller Constellation. Noomi Rapace and Jonathan Banks are set to star. According to the release, Constellation will star Rapace as Jo, a woman who returns to Earth after a disaster in space, only to discover that key pieces of her life seem to be missing. The action-packed space adventure is an exploration of the dark edges of human psychology, one woman's desperate quest to expose the truth about the hidden history of space travel, and recover all that she has lost. Rapace you know from Prometheus and The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. Banks is more of a TV guy mostly, having taken turns in Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul, and as former cop, aspiring cartoonist, and criminology professor Buzz Hickey in Season 5 of the greatest sitcom ever, Community. What? I'm a fan. Emmy Award winner Michelle MacLaren will direct. She and Apple have done well so far. She's directed and served in other capacities on the Apple series The Morning Show and the upcoming series Shining Girls. No word on when Constellation will be visible. Tom Hiddleston has another show lined up with Cupertino. Coming soon is The Essex Serpent. Following that, another press release from Apple TV Plus has the MCU's Loki starring in the Apple original limited series, The White Darkness. Based on the book of the same name, the release says The White Darkness is inspired by the true-life account of Henry Worsley, a devoted husband and father, a former soldier, a man of deep honor and sacrifice, but also a man deeply obsessed with adventure, manifesting in an epic journey crossing Antarctica on foot. Starring Hiddleston as Worsley, this is a spellbinding story of courage, love, family, and the extremes of human capacity. Pachinko's Sue Hugh is developing the show. No clue on when it will premiere. Apple is leaning hard into the whole sports thing. iMore has written up a trailer the company has released for 4 different sports-related docuseries on the way. The trailer features cuts from the McCurr-Maker docuseries The Long Game, Bigger Than Basketball, the short-form unscripted series Greatness Code, the Magic Johnson series They Call Me Magic, and the 7-part surfer series Make or Break. That last one actually made other news earlier this week. Apple issued a press release midweek announcing a second season for that one before the first season's even premiered. According to that release, Make or Break offers an intimate deep dive into the aspirations, challenges, accomplishments, and personal lives of the surfers who compete to remain on the elite 2021 Men's and Women's WSL Championship Tour and takes viewers on a journey to stunning surfing locations across the globe. Season 1 surfs in on the 29th of April. No word on when Season 2 crashes our way. As for the 4-series trailer, it's less a trailer than a mashup of trailers if you ask me. You can see what I mean on YouTube. And finally today, just a day before Apple starts its baseball streams, we know who is calling the games. Cult of Mac says, it is lots of people. Apple plans to announce game assignments for Friday Night Baseball broadcasters weekly, according to the report. Kinda bummed to not see Bob Costa's name on the list. Then again, if the roster changes every week, who knows? The first week at least makes it much less of a boys' club. On Friday, the cult says the broadcast team of Melanie Newman on play-by-play, Chris Young, analyst, Hannah Kaiser, analyst, and Brooke Fletcher, reporter, will call the New York Mets at Washington Nationals game. Coverage for that game starts at 6:25 Eastern, 3:25 Pacific. For Game 2 of the doubleheader, Steven Nelson will be on play-by-play, Hunter Pence, analyst, Katie Nolan, analyst, and Heidi Watney, reporter, will call the Houston Astros at Los Angeles Angels game. Coverage for that one is scheduled to start at 8:55 Eastern, 5:55 Pacific. I don't expect to talk about this every week, by the way. I will let you know, though, the MLB section of the Apple TV app is a gateway to a ton of baseball content. From classic moments to today's highlights, to links to books and Apple books on baseball stuff, to news in Apple News covering the national pastime. If that is your thing, there is a wealth of content to explore. Batter up. macOS Ken, brought to you by me and sponsored by Kanji, device management for your Apple environment. Learn more at kanji.io/macOSKen. This show is also sponsored by Trade Coffee. Get $30 off your first order plus free shipping at drinktrade.com/macOSKen. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media. Online at backbeatmedia.com. You can reach me a couple of ways. info@macosken.com or call 716-780-4080. Until next time, that is news from macOS Ken. I'm Ken Ray.